This is a Sanyo 13-inch black and white TV. Now you can see the case on it. It was white. It is yellowed. Of course, you have your manual tuning dials, your volume and power, and all that good stuff. And there's other controls in the back, of course. Let's turn this around just for a minute. We'll talk about everything about this TV. We have a lot to talk about. So there's the information, model number 21T68, 62. I can't read it without glasses anymore because I'm old. 21T68, code 01, AC 120 volts, 60 hertz, 45 watts. Manufactured, and it looks like April 1978. Definitely hard to see. And in the back, brightness, contrast, vertical hold, and horizontal hold. There is also provisions for a cord wrap. If you'll notice, if I can just tip it for a moment, there is a hole right here. There is also right here the built-in antenna that used to be on here. So let's talk about this TV and why I'm making a video on it. I'll turn it back around. This was my very first TV. As usual, there's a story. So get settled in. I'll wait. Okay, that should be good. My very first TV. The story goes like this. One day, it's the spring. I don't know what year. We'll say 1990, 91. Don't know exactly. And it was time to mow the lawn. My dad has a shed, and he keeps the mower in the shed. So I went outside with him, and he opened the shed, and this was sitting there. I said, "Daddy, what's that?" He said, "It's a TV." I said, "Does it work?" "I don't know." "Where did you get it?" "I found it thrown out." "So why is it here?" "I don't know. It was just something to bring home." "Well, can I have it?" "No." "Why not?" "We have to mow the lawn." That's pretty much how the story went. Details from then on are pretty vague. I can't really remember how it worked. We mowed the lawn. I don't know if he plugged it in and tested it that day or not. I really don't remember. There was a time, maybe a week or two later, that my parents were out. My grandmother was there watching my sister and I went out into the backyard, and I got this TV out of the shed. And I plugged it in, and it turned on. And it definitely seemed to work. Obviously, there was no antenna on it because the built-in antenna was broken off. So I couldn't test anything. However, we did have a roof antenna on the house. The problem was the ground is here. The roof antenna wire was taller than I was off the ground. So I had to get this TV lifted up so I could connect that. It was an F connector, and this does not have that. It's only 300 ohm. I had a baling coil for it that was hooked up to it, and I did hook it up to the roof antenna, and yes, I was able to receive pictures. I had like 4 lawn chairs and then like a little table stacked on that the TV was precariously balanced on, and an extension cord because there's no power on that side of the house, and it was just this whole mess, but I did find out that indeed it worked. Anyway, I don't know how long it took, but I finally wore down my dad, and he finally finally agreed that I could have it in my room. Just because it was free doesn't mean I could have it. He certainly had no use for it, and certainly wasn't going to put it in his bedroom. But it was there, and he took it home, and I still couldn't have it. And it took weeks and weeks of wearing him down, and he finally agreed. And I set up a little, what they called Parsons table in my room, and I had this TV. Now, I didn't have cable in my room. There are a couple of old war stories about getting cable to my room and just the house having cable in general, that I will put a link in the prescription for, so you can watch those old war stories on that. It was quite an involved story. Anyhow, in the meantime, I was lucky enough to get the TV. Cable was completely out of the question. And I had it all figured out. I wasn't a twerp about it. I knew that this dial goes from 2 through 13, and you're not picking up cable channels on the UHF. That may have been possible in certain areas at certain times back in the day, but not really at this point in time, which, like I said, was about 1990, 91, maybe 92, but I think that's even late. So anyway, that was the deal, and I had a TV. Now, as I showed you, the antenna was broken off. I'll turn this back around one more time. Looks like my cord is stuck. Let me just unstuck that. There we are. And I showed you before how the antenna here is broken off and this hole. So what we did, my dad and I, drilled that hole in the TV, and I had a set of rabbit ear antennas that is supposed to fit in a proper TV that has a little holder thing for it, and had like a little stalk that came down that was split in the middle, so it kind of snap into place right in there, and you'd have your rabbit ears off on the side. Anybody old enough would remember this, of course. But I had a hole and put it in there, and yes, it was a little wonky, but it worked, and the antenna mainly stayed unless you tried to move it, and then it would go sideways and all kinds of... So anyway, that was the deal, and I had the antenna, and I had my channels 2 through 13 and whatever was on UHF. Back in the day, of course, we still had analog TV broadcasting, so that wasn't a problem. But it wasn't a very good and clear picture because it was over the air, there was static, there was snow, all that great stuff. And that's really all I remember about that. And eventually I got cable. And like I said, I wasn't a twerp about it. I knew that this couldn't tune in cable. However, at the time, the living room TV had a new cable box, or a newer cable box, that actually had like a wireless remote and all this fancy stuff to replace the old boxes they used to go give out when you got cable, which had a channel selector. It had a selector on the left side and a bunch of buttons on it and a fine-tuning control on the right. And I knew that that still worked with the cable system because it was still analog in those days. And we could hook that up, and this way I could get cable. And yes, indeed, I did eventually end up getting cable on this TV, and I watched everything in black and white. I remember watching Garfield and Friends in black and white on this very TV in the early 90s. This also has a headphone jack on the side down at the bottom there that is factory. And I actually somewhere have a cassette tape audio recording of various TV show themes that were on at the time that was plugged into that very jack received on this very TV. And you had all the noise of it and all that other great stuff that came along with that back in the day. As far as the antenna that's on here now, that was a later on thing. Not really sure. It's just held on with packing tape. and a wire that is barely long enough to reach. Obviously, it does no good today because there's no more analog broadcasts. The next question is, does it work? The latest this TV has been powered on would have been, I think, over 15 years ago. It was tough because I had a bunch of TVs at my parents' house, and when I moved out, they said, get all your shit out of here. I could not take all of these TVs. There were a lot of them that didn't mean anything to me or anything like that, so I threw out a bunch. I even had a larger screen one, maybe almost a 19-inch, that was black and white, that I had fixed for somebody and then ended up getting later on. The power volume switch on that had broken, so I actually drilled out in the case down here. There was room, and put a toggle switch so you would toggle it on and off there, and then the volume still worked. So that was that. This TV I held on to, working or not. So the answer is, I don't know if it still works. I had another black and white TV this size, don't remember the brand or what kind it was or anything about it, where it came from, that I know on one of these sets, I think the horizontal output transistor blew up or something. So you just had a vertical line going up and down the screen. It may have been this TV set, but I said, I can't throw this out because this was my first TV. So I honestly don't know if it's going to work or not, and we're going to find out in just a moment. Now, obviously, if this TV does work, I will hook something up to it. I don't have what I used to have hooked up to this, which was an Atari 2600. If you remember those, they had a color and black and white switch. Yup, it was switched to black and white, except for those games that used that switch for other purposes, which certainly was a thing in those days because color was a lot more common then. Anyway, I'm going to apply power to it. Nothing will happen because it does have a mains control, so that's definitely off. And for the first time in at least 15 years, let's see if it still works. Last I remembered, the volume was crackly, so it'll probably crackle when I turn it on, if it's going to turn on at all. We may only get a vertical line. It may actually work, and I can try hooking something up to it. So let's give it a shot. Oh crap, it works. That is awesome. I forgot it still worked. I had no idea. So obviously we're not going to get a picture. Shh. We're not going to get a picture here with this until I hook something up to it. So I'm going to get all of the things that I will need to do this, and I will come back when I have everything hooked up. This is a Balun coil, also known as a 75 to 300 ohm adapter, and that can go on to the appropriate terminals there, and that way it'll convert 75 ohm, which pretty much everything else is, to 300 ohm and connect up there. I also have another one here. This one has been around forever. This is actually a Magnavox branded one. It's much larger for some reason. Unfortunately, the wire is a little knackered over here, but it is still connected. This has terminals. They all came with terminals on the end. Right there, these had fallen off. I'm not going to bother putting them on because we're going to do this just as a test. So I'm going to go ahead, get that attached to this, and then I will hook up a converter, RF converter. I'll think of the name of it eventually when I get the thing. RF modulator, and then we can plug in a composite signal to this TV and see if we can actually get a picture. If you're a 16-year-old fan twerp and you think you can put up ceiling fans all day, this is the kind of wiring job that you do. Now granted, putting ceiling fans up is going to be using solid wire, not stranded, but if you dealt with stranded wire and you're a kid, you don't know shit, motherfucker. I had that shit come off the VHF connector on this TV. Was it wired up? Did it work? Yeah, but guess what? These were signal wires. Also, probably when I took this thing to bring it to my house here, I just ripped off whatever wires were on there and left that there. But this should all be twisted together, preferably even tinned with the soldering iron. And as much as I thought I knew back then, this is the kind of shitty wiring that you ended up with. So now when that's in your ceiling box and that shit shorts out and shoots sparks out and hits the comforter on the bed and lights the house on fire, you know why. Let somebody with experience do things. We're not going to mention any names here about who I'm talking about, but you might be able to guess. Just maybe. Just might be able to guess. So if you think you know shit, you don't know jack shit. I know jack shit. In fact, I know his whole story, and he had a daughter and a son, and I know his grandparents, you know, all those people. You've seen the story online, so maybe you do know jack shit, but I know him personally. Anyway, on with the video. I've done a fan torp wiring job on this. It's just so the wires are just attached for the video, because as soon as the video is done, this baling coil is getting disconnected and placed back where I keep it. As such, like I said, even if this were to go completely haywire and short out, it's signal wires and nothing is going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen. So I'm not worried about it. I also have, and I don't know if it's going to work, probably this little shorty piece of coax. I forget what kind of coax this is. It was like RG59 or RG6, if memory serves. I don't remember what kind it is. This may have been a loop connector on the back of a cable box back in the day. I don't know. I've had it forever. Well over 25, 30 years I've had this little cable. And I've hooked up countless things, semi-permanently or even permanently for whatever the installation was, with this very cable. It'll be enough for us to get going. So let me get an RF modulator. We'll hook that up and see if we can finally get a picture. I'd also like to mention, I know there's going to be a comment down below from a certain 16-year-old fan torp who's going to say, I don't do shoddy work like that. No, no, no. I'm the best in the world. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. You know. Years and years and years and years and years, twice your age, more than that, 2.5 times your age, in experience means nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're absolutely right. 100% completely right the entire time. Did you have fun? Great. Okay, here is an RF modulator. This is a GE. It's been around. I will have a video on this thing, which may or may not have already been posted. We're going to find out if it works now. If it doesn't, I have another one that I believe does indeed work. I'm going to undo the power cord because, again, with this short coax cable I have, you know, I don't want to cause any problems. And we're going to hook up. That's nice. They printed black on gray, so it's hard to tell. Let us see. 2TV is that one. We'll get back to that in a minute. I will hook up the coax cable over here and screw that on down. This is again a very, very, very temporary hookup. I'm not even happy with that as a temporary hookup. That's better. And to the 2TV port over here, See how that cable is just long enough? It's just right. Just perfect for little shits like this. And then our RCAs will connect there. Okay, we're going to do this all on camera, so there's no cuts in the video as far as this is concerned. Definitely channel 3. Don't you love that? Solid as a rock, these things, man. UHF is a little tight. I think it always was, and of course these have fine-tuned controls on them as well. The RF modulator is plugged in. I'm going to use this little China gamey thing that I have. We'll turn on the TV. Let the tube warm up for a moment. We will turn on the game thing. It takes a moment till the screen on it blanks out. Oh, yes! It works! The overscan, ladies and gentlemen, the overscan. Holy crap. That is bad. So, have you ever seen Super Mario in black and white? Now, I'm not good at gameplay, so that's not the point of this. There is sound. There we go. Jump is what button? I don't know. There it is. That's a little jump. That's the big jump. Big Mario! And then we go on, and obviously we know. So here is Super Mario Brothers in black and white. And I don't know if I had, I don't even know how to shoot that one. Okay. Alright, no, well, whatever. I don't care. Like I said, I'm not in it for the gameplay. I just want to see, you know. Okay. Oh, we did it! We made it! Yay! Okay! It still works! My old TV! Yes! Okay. We'll kill the sound so there's no copyrights. That's noisy. There we go. And this should be black, really. And of course I can't do anything about the banding on the screen. I don't know which control is which without looking. They're dirty and scratchy. So we'll turn... Aha! That's better. Oh, we can get better contrast. There you go. That's a damn nice picture. That is a damn nice picture. Let me reset this thing. And clear. It's fucking clear. Takes a minute for it to boot up and send the output to the thing and then the thing. So we're a little dim now seeing this because there wasn't much on the screen before. So let me see. They're flaky controls, so contrast down and up. That's a bit too much. Somewhere about just like that. I almost had it, but it's close enough. Brightness is not bad. Oh, while we're here, that's a pretty damn nice picture. Again, I can't do anything about the overscan, but whatever. People have fetishes about old TVs turning off, so yeah. Crackly crockly, of course. And that's what it did. This also did another thing, this TV, which you should not do. And Adrian's Digital Basement had a thing on a Commodore PET that had the bright spot in the middle. I don't know if the tube is cool enough. There it is. Got it. There's the bright spot. And that will go out. Let me shut the light for a minute. And I don't know if the camera is focusing on that. But yeah, there is still the bright spot in the middle. I'll shut the orange light there. Still see that spot. So, yeah, that's not great. when you get that, but this TV, it'll only do that if you turn it on just for a moment and shut it. If I turn it back on, see, everything's good. Everything's perfect. So that's the whole point. We got it to work. Clear, clear, clear picture. I mean, really nice and clear. I don't know where it was. Burger Time was in here. Maybe a little hard to read in this. I don't know. It was somewhere. It could be in the 300 range. It's in here somewhere. That's the only problem with these little gamey things. 501 games in this thing. You're going to play the same 5-6 games, you know. But yes, it does work. And it works just fine. Yeah. Should we do a JK18 video in black and white? Yeah, I think we should. Alright, let me get reconfigured. So now I have a DVD player from China hooked up to the TV through composite through the RF to channel 3. Here is a JK18 video in black and white. It's a China video, but it is what it is. This is the Navisk Auto rechargeable portable CD player. Let's take it out of the box. Okay, in the box you get a quick start guide along with a full user's manual. Here is the CD player itself, of course. They also include a set of headphones that actually have a very nice watermark. That's awesome. I don't know that I've ever seen any of my videos in black and white. It could be really nice. You see how it's kind of like headphones have today. I don't know how to really explain this wire. It's kind of very like rubbery, if you will, which is nice because that means the wires will flex very nicely. They also include the charging cable. Not for nothing, there's something really vintage and classy about the red display and the black and white TV. There's something just nice about that. Maybe for this, the contrast should be turned a little bit because the picture is kind of dark. The black spots are too black. Let's see. That's brightness. Here's contrast. Where you have one of those cigarette lighter to USB adapter. Yeah, the control's dirty, that's why that's happening. It's kind of defaulting to that. There, that's a bit better. So right there. That's a bit better. Like I said, the controls need a bit of work. Yeah, it just went black again. But it does still work. And just awesome. And if we change channels, obviously, there's nothing else it's going to pick up. Controls. They're all right here going around. Okay, now we lost picture entirely. There we are. Forward and back. Oh, even the fine tune works. Other things to have it repeat one track, repeat the entire. About right there. It'll even do shuffle. Indeed. That's awesome. Let me just get you a close-up of the screen. We'll close this out. So there's an audio disc that I'm putting in there with copyright-free music. I'll cut back as soon as that starts playing so you get a good sound test. So you can see the display there. I'll show you the time that has elapsed on the track, and there's probably other modes you can have the display set to as well. We can go ahead and go to the next track. And of course, this will just play CDs all day. And there I was in early 1990, 91, 92, watching Garfield and Friends on this very television set in black and white on Saturday morning when Saturday morning cartoons were still a thing. What a trip down memory lane. Man, I am thrilled this thing still works. Holy crap. And it's just as good as it was back in the day. Of course, we have the bands here because it's a 16:9 picture on a 4:3 screen, and that's what you get. That's awesome. And, you know, with a little bit of work, we can dial this guy in, clean up the controls, and it'll work just as well as it always did. Man, oh man, oh man, what a trip, and it still works. 1978. This is a year and a month, or year and 2 months, depending exactly when in April of 78 it was made, older than I am. So this is 40, at this time, 43 years old, 43 in a month, 43 in 2 months, something like that. And after 43 years, this cheap 13-inch black and white TV still works. Today, you can go to Walmart and buy a 55-inch Vizio TV. It takes 30 seconds for it to boot, and it craps out in 3 years. How far we've come, people. How far we've come. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video of this Sanyo black and white 13-inch TV. I thank you very kindly for watching. If you liked the video, please click like. If you didn't like it, click dislike twice. And thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're at it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.